could you give us a little idea of how you came into the Rastafarian faith and how you became leader of the Baba Shanti House?
I was honest. I was fighting gender of my father, Eagle side. That's it.
Blessed love, welcome to the Black Christ Agenda, a celebration program prepared for the EABIC. For Emmanuel, Rastafari. Our host, the Honorable Leading Priest, Hon.Priest Isaac.
Look for me in a world when there's a storm. Look for me all around you. For a dark place, I can come back with countless millions of black men and women who are
The blessed love. We do give thanks to the life-giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie I. We're thankful for this Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation. We give thanks for such a Congress that stands above all organization, governmental, stands parliamental, churchical, statical, and sabbatical. We also recognize and glorify our worthy founder, leader, and president, our God and King in flesh, the Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. And the principles of this organization, the Congress, the EABIC, is to land every man and woman under their own vine and fig tree. So now we echo the words of the Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, Africa for the Africans, those at home, those abroad. I welcome you to the Black Christ Agenda, Heart of Celebration, as this agenda, the Black Christ thereof, has been created for the 1st of March celebration. The Black Christ Agenda is a program that goes directly into the celebration order of the EABIC. So as it is the 1st of March, we are celebrating the 59th anniversary of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Church of Salvation. We are also celebrating again the 1st of March, the Battle of Adawa, Menelik II, Ras Mokenen, Empress Taitu on the battlefield with her soldiers in 1896, destroyed Italy, destroyed Rome, destroyed General Crispy, and Pius XI, Papal of Rome, and destroyed the dragon who invaded Ethiopia in its quest to colonialize Ethiopia. So we're thankful for such a day as today, and glorify as we enter into such as the Amenta, if you understand the science and the underworld at the time of now, as we speak of 40 days and 40 nights in the wild, but yet 40 days and 40 nights still undefiled. So we give thanks as the resurrection will be drawing nigh. So it's a blessed love to each and every one, and in this episode of the Black Christ Agenda, as I said, we are celebrating the Battle of Adawa. We are celebrating the 59th anniversary of the Congress, and we are celebrating as well as we go into that holy solemnity, as we go into that holy rest, as we go into the 40 days and the 40 nights into the wild. Now, who is the Honorable Prince Emmanuel Charles Edwards? And the reason why I decided to entitle my address for this celebration as such is to go into some, what you may say, historical aspects of the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Nothing to debate about, nothing to dismiss, just the raw truth. For example, many of you would have seen my DVD documentary entitled 7. If you have not seen my DVD documentary entitled 7, I would invite you to take a look at my DVD documentary entitled 7. It is right on my YouTube page, the YouTube channel, Priest Isaac YouTube channel. And it's in 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Make sure you see both parts. And approximately 2.5 hours long. And just as the title, says, the divinity. So what I do, I take my time to break down history, archaeology, anthropology, science, religion, theology, astronomy, many different aspects of the different sciences, and point them to Ethiopia, and point them to Marcus Garvey, and point them to Haile Selassie. I point them directly to the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. So I would advise, if you have not seen this documentary, believe me, because I would not want to try to break it down here, I would advise that you take time and watch the documentary 7, maybe after you have observed this documentary, or this presentation I should say, this evening, as we go into who is the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. I would just like to, before we go into any sort of reasoning, read from a letter written by the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. This is headed, "The Conquering Lion Shall Break Every Chain." And you would see our emblems, and the red, black and green, and the red, gold and green, black 5-point star, R, and the lion symbol, victory of good over evil. And it's dated the 9th of November 1992. Now please listen. It says here, "I, the Most Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, and my Congress, the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, formerly headquartered at 54B Spanish Town Road, Kingston, Jamaica, now headquartered at 10 miles Bull Bay, St. Andrew, Jamaica, of which I am president and founder, has been registered in the United Nations since 1967. During the time of Secretary General Utan, the first conference that the United Nations held in Jamaica was at Myrtle Bank Hotel in 1967. This conference was held by the United Nations Division of Human Rights under the director, Mr. Mark Scriber. During that time, I made an appointment to see Mr. Scriber. But was informed that I could not see him. I proceeded to write him a letter dated April 28, 1967, concerning I and my people's rights of freedom, redemption, and international repatriation to Ethiopia, Africa, and the brutal conditions that we are being held under by the Jamaican government, past and present. That letter is to Mr. Mark Scriber, S-C-R-I-E-B-E-R. So as he said clearly, even from 1967, King Emmanuel, he himself, president and founder, has been registered in the United Nations since such time. Let us continue. I received a response from Mr. Scriber dated May the 2nd, 1967, stating that he wished to acknowledge receipt of my letter and to inform me that its contents will be brought to the attention of the appropriate United Nations body and will be dealt with according to normal procedures. He also asked if I desired my name on the United Nations roster. He stated that if I said yes, no one could take it off, and if I said no, no one could put it on. Okay. I responded to him that he should do so because I want a deliverance for my people. He concluded by saying that when he returned to New York, I would receive a response. I followed through with 2 letters to the New York office dated November 3rd and 4th, 1967. In 1968, I received a letter dated April 15th over the signature of Mr. G.N. Siketo, Human Rights Officer, Division of Human Rights, acknowledging receipt of my letters and informing me that a copy of my first communication was transmitted to the government of Jamaica in accordance with Resolution 728F of the Economic and Social Council. Again, it was in 1968 I received a letter dated April 15th over the signature Mr. G.N. Siketo, Human Rights Officer, Division of Human Rights. Continue. At the time of my first communication with the United Nations, the Honorable Hugh Shearer was the Jamaican ambassador to such body. The Prime Minister of Jamaica at that time was Donald Sangster, who had taken over from Alexander Bustamante because of illness. In 1968, Hugh Shearer became Prime Minister after the death of Sangster. It was during the reign of the Honorable Hugh Shearer that the United Nations sent the letter aforementioned to the Jamaican government, which called for them to fulfill the right of I and my people, the black suffering masses, of freedom, redemption, and international repatriation through Article 10 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which has not been done up to this day. I want this matter to be dealt with now, the father says. In 1967/1968, I was fully accepted and recognized by the United Nations as an international defender of human rights and justice. None of my letters, one more time, none of my letters to the United Nations went through the post office. None. I added that last none there, precisely. That's it. But were officially received by Mr. Coates, C-O-A-T-E-S, who was the then resident representative of the United Nations to Jamaica, and placed in the official mail bag of Secretary General Utan for him to receive. it was declared by the United Nations representative, Mr. Robert Crooks, that I am the champion of human rights. After Secretary General Uton received my communications, the United Nations told the Jamaican government to bring me up to the attention of the public as an international defender of human rights. The government, under the leadership of Hugh Shearer, ignored the call. Mr. Shearer pretended as if he was going to do it when he sent an invitation to me to attend a Human Rights Award presentation at Jamaica House on December 9th. The recognition due to me as an international figure was not given at such presentation. The Marcus Garvey Award, which was to be given to me, was given to Miss Coretta King instead. He again called me to the national arena, but said nothing about me to the public, and that has been the case to this day. Okay, there's a bit more. You know, sometimes we say, go on, continue. There's some more, you know, but I basically read such key points. Let me just read a bit more here. So the Jamaican government still continued to sabotage my rights by breaking off my international communication with the United Nations head office in New York at the time when our brothers of the Organization of African Unity requested that I, Prince Edward's now King Emmanuel, be brought forth to work out the necessary details concerning the international repatriation of the black African slave children in the West. Prince Emmanuel, the Organization of African Unity, the United Nations. Hold on. Read, priest. When you're done read, you talk to them. Okay, my Lord. These communications were broken off between 1969 and 1970, when the government under Mr. Shearer as Prime Minister, Honorable Hector Winter as Minister of External Affairs, Honorable Edward Siaga as Parliament member, destroyed my then headquarters at 54B Spanish Town Road, Kingston, destroying in the process my United Nations flags, houses, church, and drums used in the church. Said the mighty God of thunder, Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. You know, basically, one of the main reasons that I read that specific pamphlet is to show that, you know, you may hear of Prince Emmanuel, and you would hear the Bobo Shanti say, well, you know, King Emmanuel is the champion of human rights and justice, and, you know, it sounds maybe a bit way off. You know, it may sound a little, okay, it sounds nice. In what context? You know, what do you mean? And to be very honest, you know, without disrespecting anyone, many of us, as members of such a Congress, when we are forced to answer such questions as it relates to the validity of such claims, being champion of human rights, you know, we sometimes, you know, we really don't know what to go for. But I just gave you a list of names. That's why I spelt the names for you. Mr. Mark Scriber. That's why I made you, you know, put you in a position to research it if you want to. Division of United Nations, Division of Human Rights. Mr. Mark Scriber, even at that moment there. it was under Mr. Robert Crooks as representative at the time that he was declared champion of human rights. None of my letters, the Black Christ said, went through the post office. They were put directly into the United Nations bag. It is Mr. Coates, who was the representative in Jamaica at the time, that collected his mail and carried them straight to New York. What's going on here? The Organization of African Unity calling for the man to be put up internationally, to be seen as a champion of human rights as well. And he clearly showed us what was going on in the Jamaican government at the time, to sabotage and keep down the work that he, the Honorable Prince Emmanuel Charles Edwards, was and is doing. Now, just that bit of history, that drop of history there, is like the noonday sun. When you understand now, it is not just about talk, like, freedom, redemption, and the man fight for this and the man fight. We really need to comprehend, especially those of us that say we're Baba Shanti, the credentials of the Black Christ. Yeah, I know he's Moses. Yeah, I know he's Christ. Okay, I know he is Melchizedek. Give thanks, hallelujah. And I can speak to my own self too. Yeah, I know he's Heru. Yeah, I understand the Semenkari stuff. Well, many of you never got that one. Huh? Yeah, I know the serpent holder. I understand in the Shanti Deva science. Yes, okay. That's mystic talk. And the elements and theology. But let's come down to earth now and see what's going on the ground. The Christ in the Bible said, listen, I'm the Son of God. Now, if you don't believe me, well, don't take my word for it. Just check my works. And then we can take it from there. Listen, Brother Congo Rocky told me, I've repeated it on 7. Brother Congo Rocky spoke to me concerning different situations as it relates to King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. But one thing the brother said, no one amongst us has fought for human rights and justice like Brother Ed, Bongo Eddie, which is King Emmanuel he's speaking of. Elder Pido, in an interview with a brother of mine, family relative of mine, Brother Israel, Brother Pido clearly said in that interview with Brother Israel, that Prince Emmanuel is the priest amongst us. He just grew up amongst us and he has been perfect in every way. I'm just telling you what Brother Pido said. He has been perfect in every way. And when I look upon all I and I from them time to this time, Brother Pido and I know Brother Israel, blessed love my good brother. By the time you may have heard this documentary, we may have already linked up again in flesh. Looking forward to see you. Love. Brother Israel could tell you, Brother Pido said clearly that, hey, listen, when we look at the man, Brother Eddie from them time growing up, he used to love the people. He loved everybody. And he was perfect in every way. And when he used to be industrial, that's what he say. He used to be industrial. And, listen, and when the Jamaican government could not pay its workers, it was Prince Emmanuel that sent money to the same kept down sabotage government with a heart of love, of course, so that they could pay the poor people the wages that they promised. Elder Pido say that. So when you understand that science now, And again, what Congo Rocky said about nobody amongst them fight for human rights and justice like the Black Christ. He is the first Rastaman to write a letter to Buckingham Palace. Charles Edwards. Science. Charles Edwards. I mean, come on. We haven't taken the time to sit down and check the science. Charles and Edward. I'm not asking. I know what's going on here. You may just have to wait for a documentary and that alone, but them is deep, esoteric messages being passed there. Charles Edwards. But what I'm saying, the first Rastaman to address Her Majesty the Queen of Windsor and showing her again the whole aspect of what's going on here. The slave children, freedom, redemption, and international repatriation. So I'm just showing you all of this to bring light to what has been read. That the connection that the black man had, the Rastaman, the ancient elder, Bobo Shanti, Prince Emmanuel, keeping up with the United Nations is not no fairy tale or some hearsay talk. It is as real can be. So this is why now, come on, hold on. This is why now, when Ghana got its independence, March again, 6th of March, 1957, when Ghana got its independence, it rose the banner. And I'm going to dare say, and you may be patriotic Ghanaian and disagree, it's up to you. Ghana rose King Emmanuel Charles Edwards' banner. Remember what I said, since the 1940s we moving here. And of course, the Congress evolving to what it is now. And even what I read to you, listen to me, even what I read to you a moment ago, no letter goes out without the official letterhead. And on the letterhead is the banners of right. Red, black and green, red, gold and green, the red upstand. Gold, then the green. 5-point star, R and lion symbol. And if you understand the science of the banners in Bull Bay, Jamaica, Bobo Hill, in the ancient times, 80s, 90s, there are videos on the YouTube you can see where you have myriads of banners, different types of red, gold and green banners. You have red, gold and green banners with 3 black 5-point stars. You have red, gold and green banners with just 7 black 5-point star. No line, no R, nothing on it. You can see they're there. The documents are there. I'm not making it up. And some of you ancient ones that have, trod in such time know exactly what I'm talking about. Banners all around the camp, but red, gold and green. The official banner, black 5-point star, R and lion symbol. But there are different variations that you have seen. That King Emmanuel himself, look over and see, as I said, red, gold and green, and 3 stars, 7 stars, because we deal with certain specific number. Ghana rose the red, gold and green with the black 5-point star. That's the point. Ghana rose the red, gold and green with the black 5-point star. In his speech, Kwame Nkrumah clearly showed us that the independence that is being received here is very symbolic of that of Jamaica and Barbados. And remember, this is not just by chance. You may say, okay, Ghana, Ghana, come on. You're going to try to tell me this Rastaman in Jamaica here. This Rastaman is, where's the 54B Spanish Town Road? The ghetto, the slums, Bacawal. Boy, chat about it. Go ahead. You know, you're going to tell me that this Rastaman here, because he have some flag flying and, you know what I mean, knocking some Nyabingi and, you know, praising Selassie, you're going to tell me, after all the hard work that Kwame Nkrumah and all those of the rebellion put into this, to topple the British government and granting independence to the West African country of Ghana and raising that new flag, you're going to give credit now to Rastaman in Jamaica there for the flag that Ghana have? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? Where you really come from? Hold on, which Rastaman? The same the same Rastaman that said none of his letters went through no post office? Well, yeah, the same Rastaman that said when he wrote Mark's Kreiber, he got back a response from Mr. G.N. Saketo that said, we have a Rasta and it's up to you if you want your name to go on it and nobody can take it off. That same Rastaman. Okay, I think I get it. But hold on, you get the point here. Not the same Rastaman that Mr. Robert Crooks, Representative Human Rights Division, stated was the champion of human rights. That Rastaman you're talking about? Okay, wait, you're talking too fast. Remember, this is the same Rastaman, you know, man, that the Organization of African Unity, obviously, of which Ghana is a part of, in links with the United Nations, said, listen, to the Jamaican government, this Rastaman need to be risen up in the eyes of the public as an international figure. This is the Rastaman, the first Rastaman to write the same Queen in England. And I'm saying to you, all the writing to the Queen of England and to the Queen of Switzerland and Sweden and whoever run in France and anywhere else in the world, these letters went out with the letterhead, which is the same banner that Ghana rose. Well, whatever you believe, you cannot run from it. When Ghana did not have that flag, King Emmanuel have the flag. Alright, run round that one. Impossible. And I'm showing you, he is not just some religious holy figure that we lost in some spooky, praise the Lord and kneel and pray sort of fantasy world. This is the real human God in flesh that come to fulfill human rights and justice. This is what I'm telling you. And moving with the prophecy at the same time. Yes, it's just a joy, you know. No, just a joy. So when you comprehend now the science here that I'm showing you, in reality, when Haile Selassie came to Jamaica in 1966, remember, it is 31 gold medals the king give to 31 Rastafari. Gold medals. Is not King Emmanuel alone get a gold medal. 31 Rastaman, as they call them. 31 gold medal. When you get a gold medal, it means you win out, you know, man. You done win already, you know, man. Not silver, no bronze. Gold medal. Then win the race long time. Give thanks, you know, for lengthen time and period, you know. But it was King Emmanuel Charles Edwards that was the first to greet the emperor. And there have been diplomatic letters also from the Ethiopian government as it relates to this man and what he has been agitating for. King Emmanuel write the Ethiopian government too. So this is not no play school affair. This is real revolution. Real Rastafari. Rastafari is not just New Testament and St. Paul said. This is reality now. So those of us that take up this order of Baba Shanti, this ain't no religion. Rasta become religion when we make it religion. This is our culture, and this is our livity. Obviously, it has a strong theological base, but I ain't no religion. You understand? And as far as the strong theological base, because we must understand, what we're dealing with here, as I said, is just reality and the truth. So, even in the Master of Ceremonies, and let me stick on the documentary 7, many of you would know that there is a link that I've made with Osiris or Asar and Haile Selassie I. Many ones don't like the link, and nobody can disprove what I said. It's very clear, very simple. We all know Osiris was born in Ethiopia. And even before we go there, Osiris represents God as such God, the Most High in flesh as such. Science, it's secret science. We're dealing with the mystery system now, the esoteric levels. As I said, I know a lot of ones do not really go for this kind of things. And since we are dealing directly on the Black Christ agenda, I'm going to be very clear here before I get to Osiris. Let me say something I think I should on this specific platform. I never forget, the very first time I went to our beloved foundation, and talking about 2000. And at that time, I was already into what you see me into here. So I could have already mapped the heavens, the sky. And I never forget I went to Bubba Hill with the sky chart. I never forgot this. And I already understood the science of the zodiac belt. I don't get that long time. No one show me these things. King Emmanuel himself is who reveals such to I. So, I attempted to you're young and you have a lot of zeal, I attempted to show those who may not know what I've discovered. Look at this in the sky, in the stars, the Trinity is in the stars. I could prove this, and Orion, the Orion constellation in the stars. And I must say, most ones that I spoke to concerning that, and I didn't speak to too many. After I got the trend, I said, let me just put this away, and when I get back where I come from, I'll get back to that stuff there. But most ones really, to be honest, no disrespect to anyone, please believe me, it's just a full heart of love. I'm just showing you what happened. Most ones really turned up their nose to that. Like what you're dealing with there. Them is stargazing business you're dealing with. Stargazing, My stuff was referred to as stargazing again. I said, I look at the stars, I can read the heavens. Emmanuel the internal stargazing. Okay. The 19th Psalm does say that the heavens declare the glory of the Almighty I, Amlach, and the firmament show it his handiwork. Day unto day utter its speech. Night unto night show it knowledge. So come on, the heavens, the firmament, that which is above you, sun, moon, star, cloud, whatever you see above you, is speaking to you in a mystic way. And you have to be able to read the heavens to comprehend what it is telling you. Even the scriptures in Amos, it speaks about Orion. In Amos, it speaks about Arcturus. In the book of Amos, it speaks about Pleiades. These are constellations of the heavens. But what really, put the cherry on the cake for me now is when I heard the Honorable Priest Harris say, this is Elder Priest now, Priest Harris, he has also passed on. But at that time, the Elder Priest Harris, give thanks, my Lord. It is he who I heard say, man, just a great man will come amongst us, you know. Just a doctor's going to come amongst us. And man that can read the stars. Priest Harris. Listen to me good. You know, I usually hear man talk about, yeah man, King Emmanuel say, man of big affairs, doctors will come amongst us. You know. But one seemed to leave out the part where he said, and man that shall read stars. Come on, don't be playing with me. Shall come amongst us. But you see, one of the sour things about us, listen to me, yeah, we're getting serious. This is the Black Christ agenda. When the one that can read the star come looking like us, no, it's not him. It's not him. We're looking for a man from NASA to come amongst us. Not to read no star, maybe to butter your hand or something. Huh? No, don't tell me I'm lying. Because everybody say that doctors shall come amongst us. Isn't that so? Everybody say that. I hear people say this from the altar. Doctors shall come amongst us. Well, we have doctors amongst us. And I'm not dissing nobody, but I ain't talking about because your grandmother teach you how to take a bush and that bush and that bush. We have real healers amongst us that has established themselves as recognized healers. And when we say healers, I think I gotta take the S off from my understanding and be clear. The Honorable Priest Kailash Leons has established himself as a herbal physician internationally. Now one may say, well, come on man, that's your brethren. So what? You're not my brethren too and my sister? Don't be playing around. Of course that's my brethren. But that don't mean I don't see the reality. Okay, so because I'm gonna act as if I don't know the reality, and we must look at time, and time answers questions. We see the work that the brother is doing. We understand the testimonies that we hear internationally, and not just on the health level, but as a diplomat throughout the globe, dealing with the whole aspect of reparation and repatriation as well, and the whole cannabis agenda as well, and many other aspects. A man of big affairs. But you see, we have something about us, the Willie Lynch vibes still alive in us, eh? So when it's one of us, if it was a doctor with a white coat and a black pants and black shoes and the stethoscope around his neck and glasses, and he's from India, and they say, well, I'd like to come and see you at the... I'm not mocking no one, you know. Please don't be offended if you're an Indian. But I'm just trying to bring some color to what I'm saying. Oh, we'd quickly bring him in. We might put him on the mercy seat too. But because it's one of us, the man said doctors and those that can read the stars. You hear me? I don't care. I'm telling you how it go. If you don't like it, it is up to you. Because I can read the stars, and not just read. Don't just mind the little thing you're hearing and, you know what I mean, the archer and that. Okay, that's nice. I know the heavens. I have taught astronomy in colleges in England, in Hackney. Astronomy. I've never been to an astronomy class in my whole life. But because of how I speak, I was asked to come and do a course on astronomy. and asked to return, but because of certain circumstances that just didn't happen at the time. So I'm just trying to show you. So it's not, it's because I understand the movements of the heavens. And could read it as such. Read it, really read it, man. I study that. So then I could see, but listen, look at that story. That's the whole Black Christ story there in the heavens. So there are those of us that can read the heavens, man. Come on. And the God said they're coming amongst us. But you see, we don't want to accept them when they come looking like us. So again, Osiris is Haile Selassie. Oh, that's just his thing. I don't mind you say that's my thing. But when this really comes out and the world understands this, I hope you're still saying this is my thing. Because I know, oh, well, you know, that's our philosophy. We know these things from a long time ago. Yeah. It's such a joy. I had the celebration to one and all, you know. Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, I, Jah, Rastafari, blessed love, give thanks. Remember, in the Master of Ceremonies, we clearly explained that it's 72 individuals that came to the coronation of Osiris. 72 individuals that came to the coronation of Haile Selassie. I mean, come on, hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of people were there. But it was 72 nations that were represented there. Because the science of the 72 times the beating of the heart, between 70 and 72, science. That's life. The movement of the sun, 1 degree every 72 years, science and life. The sperm of the man, 72 days to fully mature, the science again of life, you know. So the 72 that came to Osiris's banquet is a mathematical science that has been placed into that allegory. And that allegory became flesh, human, in Haile Selassie. For the same 72 came before him. And even before that, remember again, Osiris is born in Ethiopia. Remember that, and that is even where the philosophy comes from, not from Egypt, you know. And remember that at the age of 13, he became a man. Just as the Christ in the Bible, when he was fully 12, all these allegories became life, as the Dejmak Tafari, young Leech Tafari, became the Dejmak Tafari and began his governorship of different provinces, Sidamon and Gore, and different provinces, even before Hara. At the age of 13, became a man. His father passed, all of these different things. We understand the science when it says that Osiris was cut into the 14 pieces. Some rendition speaks of 16 pieces. And he was thrown into the river. And he was in the underworld for 5 years. Exactly 5 years. We know of this. 5 years. Haile Selassie the First. When Italy invaded in 1936. Keep in mind, you know, that it is in 1930 he was crowned emperor. In 1929, remember they signed that specific pact in Italy where the Vatican really officially became a city-state. And as some theologians would say, historic theologians will tell you, and other theorists, that this is when the Pope officially became a king or an absolute monarch. That's at the time of Pope Pius XI. So when you comprehend this science, this was done a year before the emperor was crowned. So in other words, the Pope officially became that king. The Vatican reinstated as such. As the headline said, wounds, ancient old wounds have been healed, you know, and many ones will tell you this is the prophecy being fulfilled. Because remember, when you understand this science here, you know, Vatican is a city-state. It has its own flag, it has its own currency, it has its own everything. It's a city within a city, within the state. So it is the Vatican now, or Rome, or the Catholic Church at that time that attacked Ethiopia the next year. Well, attacked Ethiopia in 1936, from 35 into 36. And of course, when you look at the science now, it was in 1936 on the 5th of May that Haile Selassie I left Ethiopia. And he came back and took the throne on the 5th of May, 1941. That was exactly 5 years to the very, very day. And May is the 5th month, and the 5th day, the 5th of May, the 5th day of the 5th month. Exactly 5 years. So when it says Christ bore 5 bleeding wounds for the sins of his people as such, you need to understand this. Because you must keep in mind again, it wasn't just Africa. The whole world was colonialized. Every country that was not Europe was run by Europe. Ethiopia alone on the globe was not colonialized. And Italy tried today, 1896, and failed. And they came again in 1935. And in 1936, the emperor left Ethiopia and went to appear before Geneva on the 30th of June. And on the 30th of June, he spoke to the League of Nations at the time. He's the only head of state to have addressed that body. And he spoke to them in Amharic, a language that was not a part of the protocol. The protocol languages, French, English, Spanish, and this kind of stuff. And the emperor began in French and clearly showed them that he will speak in his language, so he can say what he has to say clearly. And they began to boo and this and that and that. And he clearly just humbly stood there and watched them. After they calmed down, he went into his speech. And we have heard of the speech where he clearly showed them, today it's me, but tomorrow it's going to be you. And he showed them that this match that is struck in Ethiopia shall burn throughout Europe, really. You know, and the emperor clearly showed them that the help and the assistance that the 52 nations were supposed to offer to Ethiopia months ago is not coming. And there were rules. Article 16 says that if one nation or member of the League of Nations attacks another member, then the whole bunch of members were supposed to cut themselves off from the individual that attacked, which in that case was Italy, and they did not cut themselves off. They actually voted on it and voted on it and voted on it, and all this time Ethiopians are being bombed and killed and killed and bombed and killed. But after the speech of the emperor, things changed, and Europe began fighting each other in a nutshell. World War II began. In fact, the official beginning of World War II, according to them, began when Ethiopia already came out of the war, because Haile Selassie I again returned in 1941. On the same day he came off the throne is the same day he went back on the throne. Now listen to me here. According to the science, when Asa is resurrected, he shall become the constellation of Orion or Sahu. Because remember, Asa or Osiris being in the Amenta for exactly 5 years, exactly 5 years, again is symbolic, 5-point star, again is symbolic, 5 bleeding wounds, exactly 5 years. So after being resurrected now, Osiris becomes the great constellation Orion in the heavens. This is according to the science of ancient Kemet. But again, this is allegory. This is the oldest understanding of a God concept outside of the heavens. And there's no one that can tell me that Asar or Osiris does not represent Haile Selassie the first. Now I'm showing you that the Orion constellation, this is a bit of academics now, the Orion constellation is at the center of the heavens, meaning that the equator of the heavens, the celestial equator, cuts Orion in two. The celestial equator passes through Orion's belt. So just like there's a terrestrial equator that passes through Ecuador and Uganda, for example, and you would say cut them in two, whether it be equal or unequal halves or unequal pieces, pardon me, equal or unequal pieces, we know for sure that the equator of the heavens passes through the Orion's belt. So Orion looks like a hunter, as they call him, because that's what Orion means. But Sahu is not Orion. Sahu is Osiris. So Sahu now stands with his sword in one hand and his shield in the other hand, and again his magnificent, most famous, well, Orion's belt. The equator passes through that. So as you could see, you could say cut in two. Now the mystic behind of that is that when Osiris or Asar ascends and become Orion or Sahu, it is said that he shall be the Lord of both sides of the heavens. That's why he is referred to as Orion N, ruler of the north and south now. Orion N, then Orion N and S. Orion, ruler of north and south. Because Orion, ruler of north and south now, is like when the Bible says he has 1 foot on water and 1 foot on land. Now listen to me. Please listen to me. When Haile Selassie now addressed the United Nations in 1963, when? In 1963. What happened here? He became the only head of state to have addressed both League of Nations and the United Nations. And you must understand, in a symbolic way, both League of Nations and the United Nations are organizations that represent the governing or governance of our planet. So in other words, our planet looks to the United Nations for good governance, all the countries. In that time, they looked to the League of Nations for good governance. That's why it played such an important role in this prophecy. So when Haile Selassie addressed the League of Nations, no other head of state has ever done that. Yes, the heads of states have addressed the United Nations, but Haile Selassie again is the only head of state that have addressed both League of Nations plus the United Nations. So that is mystic. Now Orion, as I said, stands on both sides of the heavens. His upper part is on the northern part, and his lower part is on the southern part, or the southern hemisphere of the heavens, because the heavens has a hemisphere too. That's why the heavens looks like a sphere as well. It's deep stuff. So the point I'm making is that Haile Selassie is showing you there that he represents Orion, as he is the only head of state to speak to both governing bodies that has run this world in the modern time, and this cannot be erased. It done happen already. Nothing nobody can do about it, and there cannot be another one. You can't resurrect the League of Nations and try to change the history. Earth's rightful ruler. You understand me? Now listen, hold on, we're not done. When Haile Selassie I visited the United Nations in '63, he gave Secretary Utan a specific present. There's a documentary known as The World Tour. You should watch that documentary. Haile Selassie gave Secretary General Utan a specific gift. He gave him an obelisk. An obelisk. Now Osiris is being credited. Listen to me now. Osiris is credited for the obelisk, because Osiris's penis or phallic is very symbolic in the story of him being crucified and cut into different pieces and thrown in the river. So the penis or the phallic is very important in the Osiris story, and I'm sure many of you would know. For those who do not know, they say when they found the parts of his body, the phallic was not found. But yet still he impregnated his wife, Aset or Isis, who brought forth Heru or Horus. Now I'm showing you that the phallic is said now, the obelisks that you see all over Egypt, the obelisks that you see in Sudan, the obelisks that you see in Ethiopia, they are symbolic of, or they represent Osiris' penis, straight up. The phallic. You know, the obelisk. No, I mean, ain't them something there. Wait. I just said Haile Selassie gave an obelisk. You don't listen. Haile Selassie gave an obelisk as a gift, a miniature version, obviously, to Secretary General Utan and the United Nations. Hold on, listen to this. Remember, the obelisk don't just represent Osiris's phallic. The obelisk represents Osiris in general. And Osiris became the Orion constellation. And the Orion constellation, when Osiris went up, hear this, you know, Osiris is not Orion before he went into the underworld. Before Osiris or Asa went into the underworld, he was not Orion. After he went and came out of the underworld after 5 years, then he resurrected, became Orion, and became the Osiris of North and the Osiris of the South. After. So it's after the war with Italy that Haile Selassie addressed the United Nations. He addressed the League of Nations while the war was going on. But after the war was won and he came out of that amenta, then he went and addressed now the newly formed United Nations. And at that address he gave them Osiris's symbol. He gave them the symbol of the obelisk, which represents Osiris's resurrection. And I'm showing you that Osiris is Haile Selassie. That's why I showed you the 72 that came and bowed before Osiris, the 72 that came and bowed before Haile Selassie. I'm showing you he born in Ethiopia, became a man at the age of 13. I'm showing you he went into the underworld for exactly 5 years. And when Osiris resurrected, he had 5-point stars with him. Osiris had 5-point stars. The 5 bleeding wounds, again, as King Emmanuel teaches us that it represents, because that is what Haile Selassie bore for us, 5 bleeding wounds. If you read his autobiography part 2, you'll understand what he went through in exile. It was really a crucifixion and carrying the cross, not just for us, but for the whole world. That's why all of them could get independence after Ethiopia secured its independence in 1941. Not just Ghana, not just Togo, not just Ivory Coast, Japan, China, India, all of them secured their independence after Ethiopia broke through, you know, and came to the heights. We all know only Haiti specifically was a free country on the land, and Liberia is a different story altogether. But the point I'm making for us to understand that Haile Selassie brought the obelisk to the UN at a perfect time. The timing was perfect, because he now is going to speak now as the head of state to the United Nations. And this would fulfill this prophecy now. He already spoke to the League of Nations years ago. Now it's time to speak to the United Nations now. 1 foot in water, 1 foot in land. Osiris resurrecting and becoming Orion. The obelisk symbolic of his resurrection, and Haile Selassie brought an obelisk to the United Nations when he was going to give the speech. I'm telling you, please don't be offended. There ain't nobody that can deny this science here. So I'm saying all of that, you know, to come right to King Emmanuel again. Because King Emmanuel himself now, although there's a bit of mystery system I added there, but I brought it down to what Haile Selassie was doing at the UN when he visited Utan and gave him what a unique gift in the 60s. And this is the same time frame that King Emmanuel was being recognized by the UN. And oh, please don't send your letters to no post office. I'll send the mailman to you. Oh, please feel free to write. And they're writing back. We received your letters and we had a meeting on your letters. We told the Jamaican government, huh? This is not religion and Jesus said, and you know what I mean, and Haile Selassie believe in some secret meeting here and there. And don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with the secret meetings. I mean, the mystics take place. I'm the first to tell you that. But let's look at this realistically now. Haile Selassie I, no King Emmanuel on a diplomatic level. I'm telling you, Ghana, mystery system, Ghana is Bobo Dijeni, the kingdom of the Ashanti. Bobo Dijeni, Bobo Ashanti is the Bobo Shanti flag that they rise. King Emmanuel is a mighty being amongst us. Ain't no regular man that. Take it from I. You know. So, even again 1966, at the coming of Farai to Jamaica, it's a highly diplomatic move. And when you see the UN recognize King Emmanuel, the OAU recognize him and asking the Jamaican government to bring him up quick, we as Bobo Shanti need to comprehend the glory that we have inherited, especially in this redemption fight. Most High, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. So as I said, now we can go into the mystics of King Emmanuel and everything. You know. We don't know how far the mystic is. We don't know police come to lock him up and just dead on the spot. You know. We know them things. Police come to hit John, end up beating themselves. We know these things. Helicopter drop bomb in the Congress yard. And when the prophets and the empress find the bomb, King Emmanuel say he done disarm that already. Real bomb when they carry to the police station, the police run out of the station. Real bomb. So there's a lot of mystics I could sit here and give you of King Emmanuel. I mean, such that I've never even seen, but I've taken my time. Decades of work, gathering the information from the elders, and I myself, I'm not afraid or ashamed to say, have become an archive of a lot of things that many don't even know. as it relates to the Black Christ, King Emmanuel the Seventh. Donya God, Jah Rastafari. So give thanks to a man like Priest Bob. I must say I took a little more time than I wanted to do and to take on that. And give thanks again. But there's something I want to address before I seal up here tonight. There was an interview or a presentation, pardon me, that I was watching on Baba TV Every Time Fire. Let me just give a love to Brother Baba TV Every Time Fire, you know. You could check it out anytime. But there's a specific lecture on there entitled Rasta Resistance, Struggle, Rebellion Part 2 with Brother Garfield, and as well full heart of respect and love to Brother Garfield as well. Give thanks, my brother. And the lecture itself was approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes, or the presentation. And I listened to the presentation part 2. I don't seem to be able to find part 1 though. But anyway, I listened to part 2. And you know, I mean, I'm not no direct critic of anybody. I mean, I'm a human being, so I'm going to judge and can critique for myself. And you know, there are 1 or 2 things that I would say, well, I think that, you know, they were a bit off to me. But I wouldn't really do a video or even mention it in any video because somebody says something that, you know, I don't agree with or whatever the case is. But the good brother, Brother Garfield, he, in his presentation, he went into Prince Emmanuel and he went into the Bobo Shanti. And because of some of the facts that he put on the table, I thought it was necessary for me to address his information and kind of iron out a few things, especially since he was saying, for those of you who do not know about the Bobo Shanti, well, this is what the Bobo Shanti is all about. And I am paraphrasing there. This may not be his exact words, but you will hear his exact words in a moment. So I'm going to present a bit of this lecture, and it's a lecture that you should check yourself. As I said, it's on Baba TV Every Time Fire, and it's Rasta Resistance, Struggle, Rebellion Part 2 with Brother Garfield. You know? Alright. Just listen and let's see.
Acknowledging Haile Selassie as the supreme being and only ruler of Black.
So that's Brother Garfield here speaking.
Alright. In the book that I got some information on called Conflict. If you study his interactions with Marcus Garvey, a lot of people might not want to hear this, but it's not too tricky to what Haile Selassie thought of his daughter people. With the Italian power, how he was willing to do certain things to his people was not something that a lot of Rastafarians want to hear. But that's another topic I should bring up in part 3, because part 3 is going to be about the root of the Rastafarian locks, the looks, how it influenced Leonard Howell, because he traveled all over to African places, and how, you know, the Mama tribe used to wear the locks, the smoking of the herb. I don't know, a lot of people say it traces back to Hindu roots, Indian roots, because the Indians came to Jamaica and planted it, like I just said earlier. Leonard Howell actually admits to that through Joseph Hibbert's information. And, you know, so this is Prince Emmanuel Haile Selassie. You know, when you hear the Rastaman and say, "Hail, Prince Emmanuel Haile Selassie, I Jah Rastafari." You know they're talking about this man right here. So this man carried on some of the stuff that Howell taught, right? The bubble drain. I'm going to get into it in a second, but I just got to give him a special shout out, special segment, because Prince Emmanuel Charles Edwards was born 1915, he died 1994, was a Jamaican Rastafari who founded the Bubble Shanti Order in 1958 in Bull Bay in Jamaica, and is held by that group to be a member of the Holy Trinity. Along with Haile Selassie and Marcus Garvey, the triune positions of the Bubble Shanti Trinity are as follows. Haile Selassie is regarded as the King of Kings and Prophet sent by God. Garvey is perceived to be a prophet and Emmanuel, a high priest, and he's also believed to be Melchizedek of the Bible. Alright. The group called the Bubba Dread show the most correlation with revivalism. However, they are dreadlocks but are different from the youth black faith and other mainstream groups. Most Bubba live together in a commune. They are organized like how Howell was and give rituals great importance. The Bubbas wear tightly wrapped turbans around their heads. So if you look at Prince Emmanuel right here, it's tightly wrapped. So you could tell different type of rastas by how they look. The Bubba them have their way, the youth black faith have their way. The folks who followed Joseph Hibbert when they brought the Ethiopians away to church in Jamaica, they have their way. So different rastas have their different ways. Alright, just to make that clear. The Bubbas wear tightly wrapped turbans around their head and dress in black or white robes with sandals unusually. The Bubba respect other Rastafarian groups like the youth black faith, but aggressiveness is alien to them, and they do their best to get along with surrounding communities. They live in a small utopian society 9 miles east of Kingston in Bull Bay. The Bubba calls their community the city on a hill. Our man would have said, Bubba Hill. So when you listen to Capleton and the man say, yo, Prince I Selassie I, and talk about a man go Bubba Hill and Ray. This is what they're talking about. The view of the sea is beautiful from their commune, and buildings are painted red, green, and gold. They're squatters on their land. Their leader, Prince Emmanuel, became the central figure in the Bubba Dread movement in the 1950s by setting up his camp in Akiwak. People that joined him there were so inspired that after a week, marched to Victoria Park, where they planted a red, gold, and green flag. The Bubbles remained at Akiwak until 1968, when they were bulldozed out. They were forced to 3 different places before finally settling Bull Bay. These are some of the things that they go through as a Bubba Dread, Bubba Shanty. All male Bubbas are called prophets or priests because they believe Prince Emmanuel to be their God. Prophets are the ones that have reason, and priests are the ones to conduct services or move around the altar. There's also a guard, keepers of the stores, the cooks, the managers of the Delco plant, and the controller who purchases supplies for the community in the Bubba commune. The women are subordinate to men.
Now, you'll notice now that the brother repeats this comment.
Yes, the women are subordinate to men.
All right, I'm just telling you.
They greet everyone by bowing with the right hand, touching the left breast, and saying, "Blessed, my Lord, blessed."
Now, that for sure. I mean, a lot of what he said there, I have no problem with it. To be honest, you maybe say, so what's wrong with saying? Okay, he says here, they greet everyone by bowing with the right hand, touching the left breast, and saying, "Blessed, my Lord." All right, now for sure, anyone that knows Bubba Shanty knows when Bubba Shanty bless, they bless with their left hand. They do not bless with their right hand. You go and be trying to bless with your right hand and your bubble. Anyone within the order of Bubba Shanty will tell you, "No, my Lord, no, sister, no, Empress, you. It's your left hand you use, and you put it on your heart and you bless." Yeah, and I don't use right hand. When you see a man do that, it looks so strange. So without any great research, believe me, once you are even acquainted with Bubba Shanty, you know what I'm saying. Without any great research, they greet everyone by bowing with the right hand. Now, I don't know if it's a typographical error. I don't think so. You may say, okay, left hand, right hand. You know, what's the difference? Well, first of all, it's a big difference because it's the left hand. There's a reason why. We all understand the spiritual side of the body and the different vibration on the left side and how it connects to the heart. So, you know, we know there's a difference and there's an importance. Okay. So let us agree that this specific statement is not correct. No need to go around it. We don't have to go to court for this. This statement is incorrect. They greet everyone by bowing with the right hand. It's incorrect. That's all. No, don't feel no way. It's incorrect. And the statement prior to that about the woman being subordinate to the man, that as well, and listen to this, that as well, we done find something incorrect. That as well is incorrect. Listen.
They also substitute the same thing sometimes for goodbye or excuse me. At sunrise, noon, and sunset, each bubble prays facing east towards Jamaica and their king.
Each bubble prays east towards Jamaica. Well, I know they're in Jamaica. I would assume that one is a typographical error. Fair enough, and they came.
Females in the bubble society are beneath all males in status and rights regardless of age. Women are required to cover their legs and arms. Their lives strictly consist of looking after the children and performing other domestic duties.
Now, okay, I'm just going to highlight a few things then, because I want you to keep the points. Females in the bubble society are beneath all males in status and rights regardless of age. I mean, come on. Not you, Brother Garfield. Well, you too, Doctor, you reading it. But to write such, to stress regardless of it, because all of this is lies in it, man. I'm telling you straight. This is lies. I'm coming to this. Women are required to cover their legs and arms. I cover my legs and arms, Rasta. Required? I'm delighted to cover my legs and arms. And to be honest, I don't think we're required. It's our order. And many sisters don't even cover their legs and arms fully. I'm just telling you. Nobody's throwing them out. But it's our order. It's a delight. It's no servitude or no serfdom. Their lives strictly consist of looking after the children and performing other domestic duties. Strictly. This is strictly what the woman life consists of. The woman also have to go into, matter of fact, let me hear the brother, let me make him read.
Women also have to go into menstrual recluse when they are menstruating, as I mentioned earlier. A woman is allowed to serve guests, but never bubble males. The males cook and serve. Women are allowed only to cook for themselves.
Okay. Now, I'm not a woman. And there's a need for a bit of silence here. A Bubba Shanti woman speaking on this issue is one thing. No disrespect to you if you're a Bubba Shanti woman. But you see, a Bubba Shanti woman that sit amongst King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, where I am right now, there ain't nobody around me as a woman that sit with King Emmanuel. But I know you all. I know you. I know who you are. I don't want to be calling nobody's name and give no long list of names here on the international forum here as such. You know, but I just don't feel like doing it. So that means I'm trying to show you that we have empresses amongst us that can come and give you testimonies. They would cry for you, Brother Garfield. Brother Garfield, hear me. I'm only saying this because that information to me is very harsh. Brother Garfield, listen. Brother Baba, listen. Just all love coming from me. Just love. Okay? You know I appreciate your works fully. Love, my brothers. Give thanks and just keep up what you're doing. That's what I'm saying. Well, you see that little bit of information here? It's very harsh. And it's not the truth. If my sisters, I'm not gonna go break my neck to try create some forums just to get the voice of the bubble woman out there to answer this, you know. But it can be done other ways. But the woman themselves, the Bubba Shanti woman, the empresses that sit with King Emmanuel will tell you that they were made ambassadors international ambassadors. Our father, Prince Emmanuel, make the woman international ambassador. Huh? King Emmanuel Charles Edward specifically tell us that the woman is supposed to be in front. So when you understand the science, you know, an ambassador, because it says here the woman are the woman has no specific duties. Their lives strictly consist of looking after children and performing other domestic duties. When we have the royal woman going and as PROs and presenting themselves to the media houses as representatives of the Congress. To say that the male cooks and serves and the woman are not allowed to cook, are only allowed to cook for themselves, that is not true. That is not true. I mean, I know empresses that give me the history and story, and you know, the woman themselves cook for King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Yes, I would agree. In the kitchen duty, the universal kitchen as we call it, it is set for 7 chefs, males, man, 7. And even Prince Emmanuel himself in his palace has his own personal chef. And the woman them would still prepare for the youth. But come on, that mad mentality as if the man can't eat from the woman. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. And there are cases of the woman cooking for King Emmanuel as well. There's nothing like that. We don't know of what is being said here. This is just somebody who may have passed through the courts one day and just went home and concoct their own strange thought, and you, my wife's brother, just regurgitating the crap that they're saying. Huh? I think you continue to say it. Interesting.
A Bobo can be sexually active with his wife 12 out of the 28 days, and for the other 16 days she must hide away from other men.
No, come on, my brother, come on. Don't be mentioning this kind of foolishness. No, this is another thing.
This is when women go to the sick house where other women tend to her domestic chores and take care of her needs.
Sick house. Okay. Now you see, I wouldn't go and break down the science of what the author, whoever the author here is, trying to insinuate. Alright. Now I remember the first time I read this, because I mean I've read this. I mentioned Barry Chavins earlier as well in the book Rastafarian. And I respect the brother Barry Chavins a lot as a historian, but whoever wrote this, Barry Chavins, don't make a difference. Whoever penned this here don't know what they're talking about. A Bobo can be sexually active with his wife 12 days of 28 and the other 16. I mean, come on, that's makeup thing number one, and that's not what it's all about at all. That's so far off the track. You know, when you maybe try and do an interview with one person and they say some little thing and whatever, you go home in the middle of the night and try to concoct a little story to make it sound strange. A Bobo can be sexually active with his wife 12 out of 28 days. Yes, I'm not going into no details, but there's a period when the woman goes through her menstrual cycle and a certain level of seclusion does take place. Hear me out now, man. Please listen to me. Them things lock them Rasta man lock woman away. Would you listen? Now them same woman that you say get locked away, they could tell you what it's all about. They tell you when their time is up to come out of house. It's not called no sick house. It's called house. They don't even want to come out sometimes. I mean, they want to come out and taste the salvation. But you see, you need to understand the science here. Although I'm not going to give you no time frame. But the reality is, when a woman is going through that menstrual cycle, it doesn't have nothing to do with her being sick and that she's filthy and get her away, we can't this and that and all the other. No, it's a cleansing time and it's a spiritual time. And yes, listen to me, and yes, when she goes through that, there are other sisters in there ready to attend to her. Yes, she can just lay down and relax and meditate. Her meals would be prepared and brought for her and everything. You are correct. You know. And when that period is past now, you must understand that the woman do work together and create a government even within that government now, working towards the woman liberation, woman freedom liberation league. So when you understand, you see, we are a mighty kingdom. So what's wrong with that? As a woman, you know sometimes how much type of pain you're in when your menstrual cycle is on you. I'm not saying you're supposed to go through that pain, you know, because when you eat properly, it's not the same. Sometimes you're not even aware you're going through it. But sometimes, even if you're not going through that sort of pain and you're on the ground screaming and all of that stuff, you still have this bloated feeling and uneasy feeling, uncomfortable feeling, miserable feeling. No, you're supposed to be relaxing. King Emmanuel order is perfect. So all of this sexual activities 12 times or 12 days out of 24, and sick house, and woman subordinate, woman can't cook for man, woman don't have no duties, all of that is lies. Blessing with your right hand, that's a lie too, you know. Turning to Jamaica to the east, that don't make no sense at all. So I'm just trying to say that we got to be careful when we speak, especially when we're speaking about others. When we're speaking about our own stuff, well, it's up to you if you want to make a mistake about your own stuff. But when you're highlighting other people's things, and then you're going to go as far as to say, well, for those who don't know about the bubble, this is what the bubble is about. Come on, you'd scare anybody away.
Women in the bubble community are thought to be unclean for 3 months after they give birth to their babies, and only a nurse attends to them at this time.
That's not so,
No,
my brother.
that's just for people who don't know about the bubble shanty and where it come from. Prince Emmanuel is looked upon in the Rastafari movement and one of the main inspirations, one of the main people that inspire people to get into the Rasta movement. If you look on Capleton and certain bubble, you know it's where them come from, just by listening to the music. You know what I'm saying? So when we think about reggae music and we listen to Bob Marley and so forth, we have to think about the fact that the music was basically a way of telling the life and the struggle of people in Jamaica. Basically the Rastafarian movement and the struggles that black folks face in Jamaica. Because remember, 12 white families used to run Jamaica at one point before 1962, and they still run it. You talk about Matalan, you talk about, you know, Siaga and them family and them all them people. You think about how the struggle is basically the Rasta movement was what Jamaica is made for Jamaican people in the Caribbean. Basically for us to defeat the system of white supremacy. That's why I'm saying Rasta is resistance, rebellion, struggle against white supremacy. Alright? Let's go to my favorite right now. Youth.
Alright, give thanks. Well, give thanks, Brother Garfield, still, you know. Give thanks for your information. I must say I had to really highlight that, especially not really anything against you, brother, but for the benefits of those, because that's just wrong, that's really wrong. That's wrong, it's off, and there's certain aspects of it that's really disgusting, really, So it didn't go down well with me, and I am you know, thinking of those that have to listen to it. So I found it a bit off, you know, a little bitter taste in my mouth, and I thought it was necessary for me to highlight it. Holy Emmanuel eyes, last year, Jah Rastafari. So do give thanks, family, you know. As I said, the Black Christ agenda every celebration we're coming through, we'll be coming again for the 23rd and the 25th of March as we celebrate the woman, said we, especially the woman we're celebrating at that time, you know. So that would be a Mystic Black Christ agenda coming to you, and I'm very thankful for all those who partook of such and, you know, took the time to listen to us. Heart of Celebration, Battle of Adawa, Congress celebration. Remember, we're looking forward to an upward resurrection as we enter into the Aventa, my favorite time of the year, Lent. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari.
Freedom, redemption, international repatriation. No one knows. Africa for the African. Those at home and not abroad. Born and unborn. Ethiopian Congress. Moving on. That international Congress. Moving on. From